Is today the day where you make excuses? Or is today the day you make a decision?
A dream without a deadline will become your nightmare. And that nightmare will haunt you for the rest of your life.
If you wait until you're ready, you might be waiting the rest of your life.
You can't keep doing what you've been doing and expect to get different results.
You're not going to feel the process all the time. You're not going to see it. Some days you're not going to want to write about it. You're not going to want to talk about it. You're not going to want to think about it. You're going to have migraines thinking about the sacrifices that are required to get to this next level, but just don't stop.
So let the dream destroy you, tear you down, redefine you.
That most of you say you want to be successful, but you don't want it bad. You just kind of want it. You don't want it badder than you want to party. You don't want it as much as you want to be cool. Most of you don't want success as much as you want to sleep.
Let this be day one of the beginning of the new you. Death to the old you. Show the world everything that you got inside. Show the world that you can become something that nobody ever thought you could become.
I have to execute. I have to give it everything I have. Like I know there is no tomorrow. There is no tomorrow. Everything that has happened to you. And I want you to look yourself in the mirror. And I want you to recite these 3 words. I made it. When others burnt out, when others gave up, you are still here. And that counts for something. Make this year the first year of the best years of your life. Be extraordinary. The world is waiting on you. Take the year with everything that you have. So prove them wrong, but prove yourself to be right.
I dare you to take a little pain. I dare you. I dare you not to go home. Go through it. You ain't gonna die. At the end of pain is success. You're not gonna die because you're feeling a little pain.
You gotta change that mindset. People that are hungry are willing to do the things today others won't do in order to have the things tomorrow others won't have.
To have a special life, you have to do special things. And that usually means putting in the work and loving it.
No one is going to create the future that you want for you.
We get one opportunity to come this way. We get one shot. We got one life to live. Life is too short to make excuses.
I want you to close your eyes and visualize your dream.
I need you to get out of your comfort zone.
If we all woke up ordinary, we all off to the same start.
You've decided that you're not going to allow the events, the things, the people, life, determine who you become.
It is a decision that you have to make within yourself. No one is responsible for that.
Stop waiting to feel like it. Stop waiting until you see it.
Failure is only permanent if you choose not to get back up.
And what you do today will determine your future.
And I'm asking you, what do you see in the future for you? What brought you here today? What caused you to get up?
You're closer than you've ever been before. You have to do me a favor. Those 15 minutes are not worth the rest of your life.
It's not easy, but it's worth it.
You woke up this morning to chase your dream until you catch it.
You're gonna have to sacrifice who you used to be. When you want to sleep, you have to wake up.
So don't run from difficulty, run to it.
Because it's always darkest before the dawn.
Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, give it 120%.
Every day, every single day is a new beginning. So take a deep breath. Inhale, exhale. It's a new day, a new opportunity.
The reason why you're so frustrated and angry and bitter is because you're functioning on an old software internally. And life is demanding an upgrade. And you keep pushing off the alarm, saying, remind me tomorrow. It's time for the next version of yourself. Snap out of it. You're gonna have to sacrifice who you used to be. Sacrifice is what's gonna get you in the door. Sacrifice is what's gonna have you seated at the table. College is not high school, and the real world is not college. And so you can't keep showing up the old version of yourself. And so you gotta learn how to sacrifice your time. You gotta sacrifice. When you wanna sleep, you have to wake up. When you wanna watch that movie, you gotta read that book. If you want the future, you gotta sacrifice your time. Time, where we spend our time is what we value most. Get out of this 30-day mentality and commit for the rest of your life. I need you to get out of your comfort zone. You can't be successful with the companion of comfort. Comfort and success cannot walk together. Boss up and admit that you are afraid. You are afraid to fulfill destiny. You are afraid to manifest. You are afraid to evolve. You are afraid to give it everything you have because you are afraid that people will reject you. You are afraid to change. You are afraid to move. Boss up and admit that you are afraid. And I'm just believing that today is the day that you break through. I need you to tell yourself, I am not afraid. I am not afraid of pursuing my objectives. I am not afraid of focusing. I am not afraid of sacrificing. I am not afraid of giving it everything I have. I don't care what anybody thinks. I don't care what I'll look like. I'll look crazy if I have to fulfill my destiny. This is my time. Late nights, early mornings, sometimes no friends, no family. I don't know what your sacrifice is. You just may have to give everything you have. But in the end, it'll be worth it.
See, happiness is an emotional response to an outcome. If I win, I will be happy. If I don't, I won't. It's an if-then, cause and effect, quid pro quo standard that we cannot sustain because we immediately raise it every time we attain it. See, happiness demands a certain outcome. It is result reliant. And I say if happiness is what you're after, then you're going to be let down frequently and you're going to be unhappy much of your time. Joy, though, joy is a different thing. It's something else. Joy is not a choice. It's not a response to some result. It's a constant. Joy is the feeling that we have from doing what we are fashioned to do. It is just as important where we are not as it is where we are. Look, the first step that leads to our identity in life is usually not, I know who I am, I know who I am. That's not the first step. The first step is usually, I know who I am not. Process of elimination. Defining ourselves by what we are not is the first step that leads us to really knowing who we are. South of New Orleans a few years ago, and I went to a voodoo shop. And they had this wooden partition against the wall with these columns. And in these columns were all these vials of these magic potions, right? And the headings above each potion defining what they would give you were things like fertility, health, family, legal help, energy, forgiveness, money. Guess which column was empty? Money. Let's admit it. Money is king today. It's what makes the world go round. is success. The more we have, the more successful we are, right? Now, I would argue that our cultural values have even been financialized. Humility is not in vogue anymore. It's too passive. It's a get rich quick on the internet, richest 15 minutes of fame world that we live in, and we see it every day. But we all want to succeed, right? So the question that we got to ask ourselves is what success is to us, what success is to you. Is it more money? That's fine. I got nothing against money. I don't. Maybe it's a healthy family. Maybe it's a happy marriage. Maybe it's to help others, to be famous, to be spiritually sound, to leave the world a little bit better place than you found it. Continue to ask yourself that question. Now, your answer may change over time, and that's fine. But do yourself this favor. Whatever your answer is, don't choose anything that will jeopardize your soul. Prioritize who you are, who you want to be, and don't spend time with anything that antagonizes your character. Don't drink the Kool-Aid, man. It tastes sweet, but you will get cavities tomorrow, all right? Life is not a popularity contest. Be brave, take the hill, but first answer that question, what's my hill?
There's a responsibility to freedom, and that there is freedom in responsibility. You know, and that earn your way there. We remember the stuff we earn, the stuff we experience, more than what the teacher tells us or what someone gives us for free. We just do. We broke a proverbial sweat on it, whether it was mental or physical or whatever. We built it. We understand. We felt how we got it, how we achieved it, how we got what we wanted. Those stick with us, whether we forget them intellectually. They were written in our lineage, and they build resilience, and they build a healthy, true optimism going forward to know that, oh no, I've worked for something before and achieved it. Delayed gratification. Oh, there are choices I can make today for myself that will pay me back later in life. So there are choices we make. If you're going to say right now, I'm going to lie, cheat, and steal to get what I want, and I got it. I got an immediate green light for me. That's just a battery-powered green light. That's not a solar-powered green light. Why? Because now, everywhere I go, I got to look over my shoulder to see if someone's there that I lied, cheated, and stole from. And when I'm doing that, I'm stealing whose time? My time. I'm not free. I don't have the freedom. I didn't create freedom in my future because I chose to make an irresponsible act that I left crumbs. I've now got reasons to look over my shoulder. And the more things we do to create in our future that we got to look over our shoulder, the more of our most precious thing we have in our life's time that we're stealing from ourselves. So it's not puritanical. It's just like, it's actually self-serving. It's a very selfish choice. And I'm a fan of the word selfish. I've helped redefine it. But I believe that there are selfish choices we can make that are the most selfless, that there are selfless choices that we can make that are the most selfish choices. Those two are not a contradiction, and we see them that way. Responsibility is appreciation of a past. It's building of a lineage. It's investing in ourselves. It's investing in something we started to build yesterday that we want to take into tomorrow.
You only have to ask a stupid question once. You ask a stupid question, and if you're in a crowd and you ask a stupid question, 80% of the people in the crowd have the same question. They're just too cowardly to ask. But you ask and then someone actually tells you, you never have to ask that question again. You're no longer stupid. What stupid thing am I doing that I could quit doing? That I would quit doing? Because those aren't the same thing, right? Because you know there's stupid things that you're doing that you're just not going to quit doing because you like them. But there might be something on the edge there where you could stop that. If you want to know something about yourself, sit on your bed one night and say to yourself, you got to mean this, like you got to be desperate. This is no game, this. My life is not everything I want it to be, and perhaps it's not everything that I need it to be. And by need, I mean my life is so unbearable that the suffering that's attendant upon that is make me nihilistic, cynical, bitter, resentful, driving the proclivity to see evil everywhere except within my own heart. Like, these are problems, man. And you ask yourself, you sit on the bed and say, okay, man, I'm ready to learn something. What's one thing I'm doing wrong that I know I'm doing wrong, that I could fix, that I would fix. It's like, you meditate on that, you'll get an answer. And it won't be one you want, but it'll be the necessary one. You know, and it's often something that will point you to small things. Like, that works. You start making those micro improvements, like real micro improvements, real on the ground, actual micro improvements to things you know that are wrong, you'll improve unbelievably rapidly. The great people I know are brutally truthful to themselves and other people, and they have insanely adventurous lives. Get rid of everything you say that you only say to impress other people, and just see if you can say what you believe to be true. That's an adventure. That's the thing about the truth, you know? Well, you got to ask yourself, if you're not speaking the truth, who is it that's talking? If you're saying something that you do not believe to be true, it's not you talking. It's something else. It might be the part of you that wants to manipulate the other person into delivering what you think you want from them. Well, what is that spirit of manipulation that you've allowed to possess you? It's not you. Let's say you decide to live your whole life in that instrumental manner. You're going to craft your words like the student who says, well, I'm going to write what the professor wants to hear so I get the grade. It's like, well, you just turn yourself into that. Well, who is it that's doing that manipulating? It's not you, because those aren't your words. So even if you get the grade, it's not you that got the grade. It's the false you. It's the manipulative you. So you do that your whole life. You don't have your life. And then you think, well, God, that was a miserable life. I manipulated everybody. They were so damn stupid. They were sucked in by it. They're all contemptible. Everyone does it, you know, which they don't, by the way. And so that's a pathway to bitterness. Partly because if you're a manipulator and you use your language falsely, you don't live your own life. You live the life of whatever possesses you when you think it's you manipulating. And so you live the life of the spirit of manipulation.
First rule, the moment you start to slide, you're shoveling against the tide. What you need to do is what? Take a break. And here's what's cool about it. You can study for a half hour. It doesn't take a half-hour break to recharge your batteries. For most people, about 5 minutes.
We always dread sitting down to study for extended periods of time. But what you may not realize is that you are hindering yourself from studying effectively if you do this. As Marty Lobdell explains in his lecture, things that are reinforced we tend to do more of. Things that are punished or ignored, we tend to do less of. This can transfer to how we study as well. If we dread sitting down to study for 5 hours straight, we aren't going to study nearly as well as if we break up our study into smaller chunks of time. According to London's Global University, 5 of the benefits of taking study breaks include improved memory, reduced stress, improved health, and boosts to your energy, as well as boosting your performance and creativity. The main point to take away from this is to make sure to break up your study time from longer periods to shorter ones with scheduled breaks. As a bonus, add on a well-deserved treat at the end of the study time. It'll help motivate you to be more productive during your allotted study time.
And this is where you go away, do something fun for 5 minutes. Call a friend, talk to a child, talk to a parent, a roommate. Enjoy some music. Do something you enjoy and actually say, this is my treat for having studied for 30 minutes effectively. Go back and here's what happens. Your efficiency is nearly 100%. Study a half hour, take a break. Study a half hour, study a half hour.
I got 3 words for you. Shut it down. Log out of the social media. Get off the internet. Unplug and evaluate where you are and where you're supposed to be. You got one life to live. The question is, why are you here? And what are you going to do about it? Because the truth of the matter is, you have survived the greatest traumas of your life. Life has hit you. Life has knocked you to the ground. There are people that have tried to bury you alive, and you survived. So I need you to disappear for 30 days. I need you to disappear for just 1 month.
Don't worry about the prize. You worry about the process. You don't decide when you're born. You don't decide when you die. But you got a whole lot to do with that in-between stuff. Listen to me. Whatever you put your heart to do, whatever you put your mind to do, whatever it is that you want to accomplish, I don't care if you don't have no support. With me, you alone, we can get this thing done, baby, all right?
Who am I talking to? I'm talking to that person that's tired of where they are, and you are bold enough, you are crazy enough, you are courageous enough to shut it down for 30 days.
The window of opportunity and sometimes the window of life, it closes quickly. And so I need you to do me a huge favor, man. I need you to get busy living.
The future is very expensive and it requires sacrifice now. Can you depart from instant gratification and suffer now that you live the rest of your life a champion?
All you need to get where you're going, you already got it, right? You already have it. All I need you to do is believe in yourself.
Disappear for 30 days. Come back and shock the world. Can you identify what has kept you broken? What has kept you broke? What has kept you defeated? What has kept you covered under the blankets of anxiety and stress and overwhelm? But you're trying to make business moves with people that don't think like you. They don't walk like you. They don't sacrifice like you. They're not willing to put in the blood, the sweat, the tears behind closed doors. A man is rewarded in public for what he does in private. I need you to disappear for the next 30 days. What does that look like? 720 hours dedicated to the future. I need you to disappear for 30 days. Just 30 days. Can you walk away for 30 days? Can you silence the doubters for 30 days? Can you tell everybody to be quiet for 30 days so you can focus on you? Who you are today has gotten you as far as you're going to get. If you're going to get any further, you got to reinvent yourself. And if you're going to reinvent yourself, you've got to shut it down for 30 days.
I need you to pursue it. I need you to go get it, all right? I need you to go get it. Don't wait for it to come to you, all right? Greatness is not going to come knock on your door. There's some opportunity that's not going to come knock on your door. You got to go get them. Without even knowing you, if you watching me, I already know you got something within that you wanted. I already know that. Because I already know you can. But my question to you young people this summer, will you? I already know what you're capable of doing, but my question is, will you reach your potential?
You've been too focused on who was not there for you and who did not believe in you and the people that just said it but didn't do it. You've been too focused on that. The trauma, the anxiety, and I'm wondering if you can begin to shift that focus in the next 30 days, if you can begin to shift that focus on what's working in your life, what's within your control and not what's outside of your control. What can you control? Who can you influence? The first person that needs to be influenced in your life is you. It's you. You can't lead anybody. You can't go anywhere unless you have awakened yourself on the inside to follow a specific plan. Write it out. I need you to disappear for 30 days.
You know, what should happen when you go to university is you should learn how to think and formulate arguments. You should learn to think, speak, and write. That's what the humanities are for. They're to make you dangerous, right? Because if you can think and speak and write, you're deadly. In a complex job, you're exactly what's necessary. There's nothing you can possibly do to become more deadly than to improve your facility with language. And the way you do that is by reading, especially great things, and by writing, and by thinking, and by speaking, for that matter. But how could that not be viewed as absolutely central to what education is about? You want to be inarticulate and stumble over everything that you try to think and communicate?
Yeah.
how are you going to get anywhere? You don't even know who you are under those circumstances. You're this massive feeling that's expressing itself, you know, maybe in violence because you can't find the words. And you stumble around and bump into things and you're clunky and dull and you're not witty. You don't sparkle. So let's say you take the example of a SEAL who's got it all, but this literacy. What happens to him compared to someone who has all those skills?
If he can't write well and he's in charge of 6 guys and one of those guys works hard or does something that deserves to be recognized, this is the responsibility of that leader to write that person an award.
Okay, so he can't reward his good workers, his good soldiers.
He can give him a pat on the back, but a pat on the back isn't going to get him promoted. An award is actually worth some points towards your promotion. And the people that are on that board that are giving that reward, they're never going to meet that leader, and they're definitely not going to meet that guy. There's no bias. It's based on this piece of paper that you hand in. You hand in this piece of paper, they read the piece of paper, and they say award approved or award not approved. Or you want to do a mission, and you send that up the chain of command, and it's the same thing. It gets to a certain point where they're just looking at it and reading and trying to decipher this pile of junk that you put together. And by the way, if I'm in charge and Jordan sends me a concept of operations that doesn't make any sense, why would I possibly let you go out and execute an operation that I can't even understand what it is you're trying to do?
Because what I observed in my own career, and it's so interesting, the parallelism is so interesting but not surprising, is that nothing can stop you if you can write. And it's for the reasons you just laid out. It's like, when you write, you make a case for something, whatever it happens to be. And if you make the best case, well, then you win. And you get whatever it is that you're aiming at. And so, you're adventurous, you want to make a mark, you bloody well better learn how to write. Because if you learn how to write, well, then you can think and you can communicate your thoughts. So not only are you deadly strategically, you become extremely convincing. And then you can go and do anything you want and no one will stop you. And that's never told to people. And I don't really understand why. You know, you hear the pen is mightier than the sword, which is just a cliche unless it's fleshed out.
If all you want is success, you will not have it. And so if all you want is the success, if all you want is a trophy, but you don't want a story, a process, if you don't want to be made into something, then you've already missed it. You've already failed. You've already tanked. And so once you get this, everything changes. What have been the biggest obstacles in your life? What has stopped you? What has hindered you? What has provoked you to get lazy? When life pushed you down, when everybody said you are not enough, when you told yourself, I quit because I can't finish, and you got back up the next day and kept going. Sacrifice is going to have to become your companion and no longer your enemy. Too many of you think sacrifice is your enemy. Sacrifice is a curse word. Sacrifice is bad. I don't want to sacrifice. Well, guess what? You cannot have success without process, without sacrificing. You cannot have it. Get up! Wake up! There's always another level. And it's not about beating the man or woman that's standing in the room with you. It's about beating the man and the woman that's in the mirror. Can you do better than you? Can you do better than you did yesterday? That's all I want to ask you. Can you do better? This is the day, come on, say this with me. This is the day I learn like I never have. This is the day I invest like I never have. This is the day I take it seriously. I got one window. I may not be here tomorrow. I see all things working for good. I see you stepping into everything that God has called you to do. I see you stepping into purpose and stepping into the plans that God already has laid out for you. This is your day. Get up and conquer your day. I'm just wondering, what are you going to do in this next 24 hours that you did not do? I'm just wondering if you're going to level up 2 millimeters more than you did yesterday. Are you going to get better? Are you going to get stronger? Are you going to get wiser? Are you going to pray differently? Are you going to see this thing differently? I'm just wondering, when are you going to see the power of 24 hours? I'm just wondering, when are you going to seize the opportunity? You can have journals full of dreams. You can have vision boards from your front door to your bathroom. But if you don't count up the cost of what it's going to take, and if you are not willing to pay that price, you cannot have your future. I want you to get this mentality in your head. Every day, you pay. You pay. Forget waking up at 2 o'clock in the morning. You may have to lose sleep for a week. You may get 2 hours of sleep in 7 days so that you can accomplish what it is that you've been destined to accomplish, what you were born to contribute to humanity. And so I know it hurts, and I know it's expensive. Everything you need to get to this next level is inside of you. There's always another level. Just stand up. I'm just wondering if you're gonna rise and see the opportunity. Rise. Rise above what they said. Rise above what happened. Get up. Get up. Get up. You've got a day to conquer. I know you don't feel up to the task. I know you've got some doubt, and you've got some fear, and you've got some uncertainty, and you hate the image that you see in the mirror, and you hate the way your money looks and your relationships look, and people that you've given your all to keep walking out on you. I know you feel stuck in reverse. I know you feel like you're underpaid and undervalued and overlooked, but listen, get up! This is the day that everything changes. Get up! Rise and grind! Get up and get after it! Get up and get after it! You are here by design. You are listening to this talk by design. Get up and beat yourself from yesterday. I don't have time to walk in unforgiveness. I'm focused. I don't have time to think about who doesn't like me, who doesn't agree with me. I'm too focused. Get focused. Get focused. And you got two options. You can give up or get up.
The measure of trauma and misery, it doesn't matter. If you are alive, you have another opportunity to begin again. And every day, every single day, gives you that new opportunity. So if you don't have a to-do list, get a to-do list. If you haven't planned the day, start planning your day the night before. If you don't have a morning routine, get a morning routine. Start your morning with prayer and meditation. If you're not tracking your progress, start tracking your progress. If you don't have accountability partners, you need to get accountability partners. If you have not identified the roadblocks, if you have not identified the kryptonite, if you have not identified the hurdles, what has hindered your forward progress, identify those things. Get up and get after it.
People that are hungry are willing to do the things today others won't do, in order to have the things tomorrow others won't have.
I need you to ask yourself a serious question. How bad do you want it?
And every day, every single day, gives you that new opportunity. Get up and get after it. Every day, every single day is a new beginning. So take a deep breath. Inhale, exhale. It's a new day, a new opportunity.
There is no passion to be found in settling for a life that is less than the one that you are capable of living. Rise and grind.
No one is going to create the future that you want for you.
Just needs you to be 1% better than you were yesterday. If you can be 1% better than you were yesterday, you're making progress.
You're not putting forth 120%. You're not all in. If you get to that point where you do exactly what you say you're going to do, you're going to get to the next level. All right, so let's get started. Let's get started. Let's get started.
See, people who have something to look forward to don't need an alarm clock.
At the end of the day, you can listen to 1,000,000 motivational speeches, but you are going to have to wake up and make a decision to get it done.
It is not life that's holding you back. You just gotta be a little bit tougher than your circumstances. There are gonna be times that you're gonna wanna give up, but you don't have the permission to do so.
Those 15 minutes are not worth the rest of your life. Those 15 minutes are not worth you slipping down the chart. That is not worth it.
You're focused on the risk more than you are the reward. You're focused on the pain of the process more than you are the glory on the other side.
Everybody wants to have, to be, and do what they feel they've been called to do. The challenge becomes that most of us, when it's time to do what beasts do, we don't do it.
And I'm asking you, what do you see in the future for you? What brought you here today? What caused you to get up?
You see, how you do anything is how you do everything. And the fact is, it all comes down to one thing. That one thing is choice. And what's the easiest choice to make? Well, the easiest choice to make is to choose what you've chosen before. And if you always do what you've always done, then you'll always get what you've always got. Ultimately, your attention is your superpower. Your attention to focus on now what needs to be done. And this is the difference between success and failure. If life was a garden, then what sort of state is the garden of your life in? Because the natural state of the garden is decay. And if you don't look after the garden, then you know what happens, right? It gets out of control. You have weeds, and then there can be a lot of work to do. The best time to plant a tree was 20 years ago. The second best time is now, but I would say it's not now, it's right now. It's really all about just playing the game of life and making progress. And maybe now it's time to wake up and realize the ultimate choice. The choice of who are you listening to? And I don't mean my voice, I mean the voices in your head. And I actually said the voices, because maybe there's more than one. When you woke up this morning, these voices started. Did you hear that voice that said, stay here, it's lovely, it's warm, it's comfortable? Or did you hear that other voice that said, hey, come on, let's get up, let's go? Which one are you listening to? It's the same challenge for most of us. It's who we're listening to. And I'd like to introduce you to someone. It's the voice of your future self. And you could think of me like a lawyer who's come from your future self to say, hey, your future self is talking to you. It's just maybe you haven't really been paying attention. Most people today are actually living a future they don't want. It's called a default future. And what's the hardest thing to do to create a new future? It's to build a compelling relationship to your future self and just get started. But I know sometimes with the things we've got to do, they might seem really big. So just doing it might seem like, well, there's just too much to do. But the real key is to just get started. Because our brain will always favor what is easier. Our brains tend to focus on taking the easy path. Anything that grows comes up against resistance. So the resistance that we have to start work, The resistance that we have to start engaging in activities that will create the futures that we want always require us to move through resistance. And right now, I'd like you to imagine that you go on a journey and in the distance, in the horizon, you see someone and you think, that person looks familiar to me. And as you walk closer to that person, you realize, hang on a second, that's me. It is you, but it's you in the future. And as you get closer to your future self, imagine that that future self opens his arms up and gives you a really big hug. And you realize the possibilities that exist for you to become your future self. Is today the day where you get distracted, or is this the day you just get started?
Stop being afraid to go to college because your daddy didn't go and your mama didn't go. Stop being afraid and be the best Eric Thomas you can be. But listen to me, it's going to be hard. It took me 12 years to get a 4-year degree, but I got it. And guess what? On a degree, it don't have dates. So if it took you 4 and it took me 12, it don't show up nowhere. I need you to study like you've never studied before. I need you up all night long studying, getting about 3-4 hours here, hour and a half here, 2 hours here. You hear me say this all the time. For some of you, this is it. And even you say, Eric, look, man, you don't understand. If I put everything in, I'm still going to get a 1.0. I'm telling you to do it anyway because, you know, I told you I flunked English 3 times like when I was in college, right? Flunked it the first time, and I quit when they told me I couldn't pass. The second time she told me, you're going to flunk, I stayed in there anyway. And guess what? As stupid as this might sound, even though you flunk, you learn, a new concept, right? So that's 1 or 2 less concepts I got to learn the next year, right? And finally, that 3rd time, I clept it, which means you just take a test. And I took the test and I passed it.
You don't get it. You have to give everything you got to get what you want. You have to give everything you don't even realize you have to get where you're trying to go. Don't you get it? When you do what they want, you will have what they don't. When you do what they refuse, they won't have the options that you get to choose. Because those are reserved for those who choose to move when others choose to stand still. Those are reserved for those that choose to get up when so many others couldn't find the strength to lift up and give more.
And when you get to the point where all you want to do is be successful as bad as you want to breathe, then you'll be successful. And I'm here to tell you, number one, that most of you say you want to be successful, but you don't want it bad. You just kind of want it. You don't want it badder than you want to party. You don't want it as much as you want to be cool. Most of you don't want success as much as you want to sleep. Some of you can make sacrifices when Monday Night Football is not on. You can make a sacrifice. But when the game come on, for some reason, you just attach to it. You can make sacrifices on Sunday when ain't nothing going on. But when your favorite show comes on Monday, bam, some of you focus until the phone ring, and then you like, I gotta answer it. If I don't answer the phone, I'm gonna die. I'm saying to you today that there are some of you, if you give up your cell phone, you would be successful. But your cell phone is more important to you than your success. You have to give it everything you got. No more TV, no more parties, no more playing. If you don't have a 4.0, what you need to be doing is studying. Get off the phone. I'm sorry, I'm not available until the end of this year. No, I'm for real. You reached the right number, but you called me at the wrong time. Call me back January 1st. I'm about to get busy now. Every time you ever got in trouble, somebody in your house got you out of it. Every time you've done something you're not supposed to do, people say, Eric, your mother's a tyrant. You're right. She kicked me out. You're right. She's mean, but she developed a man because she put me out there and said, you're going to have to grow up. And some of you have never learned to grow up. And so every time something get hard, you quit, you call mama. I dare you to take a little pain. I dare you. I dare you not to go home. Somebody said, I gotta go home, I feel bad. Go through it. You ain't gonna die. At the end of pain is success. You're not gonna die because you're feeling a little pain.
So let this be the time that you lift yourself back up. You've did it over and over again. Why stop now? You're too close. Success is right around the corner. And even if it takes a little bit longer to get there, it's okay. It's coming.
I gotta commit my very being to this thing. I gotta breathe it, I gotta eat it, I gotta sleep it. And until you get there, you'll never be successful in life. But once you get there, I guarantee you, the world is yours.
You already know sometimes you gotta disappear for 3 months. Sometimes you gotta disappear for 6 months. Sometimes you gotta disappear for 9 months. Sometimes you gotta disappear for a whole year, 2 years, and then emerge. The new you, the new and improved you on an entirely different level. See, your dream is like a muscle. And sometimes you gotta let that muscle get broke down. The greats, they don't even start counting the reps until it hurts because they understand that pain is what's gonna lead to that future gain. So from this day forward, excuses are for the weak. So starting right now, not tomorrow, not next week, I need you to vow to keep going.
It's when you have nothing left. It's when you depleted all your money, when all your energy gone, when you have nothing left, that's when it's showtime. When you want this thing as bad as you want to breathe, that's when you find a way. Listen to me very closely. You got to change that mindset.
Every single thing that you do, you are casting a vote for your future self. So don't wait to feel pain. Don't wait to get yourself in a place where you're desperate to take action. Because to really win, it's not a destination. To win is that constant striving and struggling for you to become your future self.
Do something today that your future self will fall madly in love with you for.
Sometimes you need to go find a mirror and tell yourself with tears in your eyes, I am the problem. Once we stop accusing everybody else for our inconsistency and our lack of execution, all of a sudden the world opens up. Drop the frustration. Once you discover your why, I want you to spend the rest of your life, take your time, your talent, and execute. Many influencers and speakers will give you a grocery list of things you need to buy into in order to be successful. I'm gonna give you 3 things. If you can just get these 3 things, then I wholeheartedly believe that the infection, the disease, the dysfunction of inconsistency will be literally eradicated out of your life. What's your why? You're gonna need discipline to do what you do. And you're gonna need perspective.
You might get tested today, but you were born with mental toughness to fight through. There is absolutely and never has been any give up in you. So a champion like you gonna do what you gotta do to make sure the day comes that you rewrite the history of your family, that you leave a legacy. Either you do what you should be doing right now so you can live like you wanna be living in the future, or you don't do what you should be doing right now. And I guarantee you, your future self will hate you for it.
Is it possible that the greatest thing you ever do in your life will be the person that you become? That every single day you have the opportunity, with all of the decisions that you make, to create a future self that is better than you, that is more courageous than you, that is someone that has achieved all of their goals and dreams and ambitions.
It's time to get out of the way. It is because of you that you are not where you want to be. You are the issue. It's you. Your issue is you. Every year we go through the same cycle. I'm going to eat better. I'm going to exercise. I'm going to cut off all negative people. I'm going to be optimistic. Come on, we say all these things. 2 weeks later, everything hits the fan. If you study history, you will find that the men and women that turned the world upside down
were the ones who got out of their own way. Your insecurity has been in the way too long. Your jealousy, your envy has been in the way too long. The fear you've been wrestling with has been in the way too long. Get out of the way!
I need you to do something today that your future self will thank you for. Don't you get it? Get busy living. Get busy giving. All of you, give the best of you. Not for you right now, but for the you in the future.
Please, please do yourself a favor and dispense with the excuses that you don't have time. Dispense with the excuse that you're not good enough. Dispense with the excuse that nobody will show up if I build it, that too many people are better than me. Drop out of the, I tried it last year and it didn't work. No, you didn't work. I get it, I get it. If we pull up your history, we'll find a lot of brokenness. We'll find a lot of trauma. We'll find a lot of empty places. If we pull up your history, we'll find a lot of failures. This must be the year that you are not defined by your history, but you fulfill your destiny. Why are you here? What were you placed here to do? Get to work.
This is the time that you must recognize that you have something that is special. And it is time for you to show up and give it everything you have within yourself. You can do all great things within yourself if you just have the faith. You got to be the one to prove them wrong. And let the world know that you do matter in this society, that you have something great within you, that you have power, that you have will, that you have strength. Don't accept defeat. Don't accept excuses. Don't accept the fact that you think that you don't have what it takes when you know deep inside yourself you have it.
They didn't realize that every setback of your life, they didn't realize that every bad day of your life, they didn't realize that every sad day of your life, they didn't realize that every so-called failure, disaster, missed opportunity, a tragedy was just a building block of strategy, and the agony, the pain, the heartache, the misery was put in place to give you the strength to rewrite history. Therefore, it should be no mystery when you make a special delivery to the doorsteps of victory.
When the rest of the world shuts you down, you got to be willing to open up your mind and your heart and accept the fact if you're gonna do it, then you got to be the one to do it, and you got to be the one to believe in it. You must understand that we all have unique qualities within us, but we have to apply ourselves day in and day out. Yes, there are people out there right now that doubt you. And no matter how hard you work at your craft, they will still find some fault in you. But when will you begin to realize that all of the hard work, all of the struggles, all of the mistakes, all of the setbacks are just a part of your growth? Maybe everybody is not going to accept you, but can you accept yourself? Can you trust in yourself? Maybe you're going to be the only one left standing, but at least you're standing. And maybe you feel that you're standing alone, but you're really not alone, because you got so many ideas, so much greatness within you right now that is flowing through you right now. So how can you believe that you are alone? How can you believe that all of these things that people have doubted you on, everybody that's been saying that you're not gonna make it, that you can't push forward, that you're not gonna be the best, and you trusted them, and you believed in them. You believed in the answers that they had for you, instead of answering your own question. Am I good enough? Can I be the best of myself? The time has come for you to understand that you cannot depend on the opinions of others. You cannot just trust in the opinions of others. You cannot allow other people to validate you, because you are just who you are. Nobody is going to be like you. Nobody can be as strong as you. Nobody can walk the walk like you. That's what makes you different. That's what makes you unique. So prove them wrong, but prove yourself to be right.
For so long, you've known you had an inner beast inside, but you were scared to bother it. For so long, you've known you had an inner beast inside, but you were scared to bother it. That's just like planting a seed and then never watering it. Never making sure it's provided with exposure to sunlight, basically just squandering it. But that version of you no longer exists, because from the depths of your inner soul comes your inner beast, and you are now honoring it. That seed that was planted in your soul has been patiently waiting. That seed that was planted in your heart has been laying low for the perfect time. That seed that was planted in your spirit has been storing energy. That seed that was planted in your mental has been digesting and processing. And when all of these forces came together, they created the perfect storm that set the stage for your inner beast to be born. That set the stage for your inner beast to take form. That set the stage for your inner beast to transform. That set the stage for your inner beast to break through and swarm like a large group of bees. And now you're ready to sting anyone that stands between you and the stamp of greatness needed to make your successful transformation official.
It must happen this way, because this is the only way you're gonna know what you must do to get better at whatever it is that you are seeking in your life. No one said it was gonna be easy. In fact, nobody's really gonna hold your hand. But you got to have the ability to hold yourself up.
Don't put your future into someone else's hands.
You're not going to feel the process all the time. You're not going to see it. Some days you're not going to want to write about it. You're not going to want to talk about it. You're not going to want to think about it. You're going to have migraines thinking about the sacrifices that are required to get to this next level, but just don't stop.
What if today was the day that success had your name written on it? Procrastination is the thief of destination.
Today, I want to remind you that you are not average. I want to remind you that you have what it takes. All you have right now is today. So give it your all. You've got this.
You missed the energy. There are no more tomorrows. And you have to live like today is the last day that you have a chance to achieve the things that you want to achieve. Today, not tomorrow. Stop looking back at what happened yesterday. Don't let that deter you. No fear, no doubt, no reservation. See, success is reserved for you. So what's your hesitation?
So if you've been doubting yourself, stop. If you've been doubting your abilities, stop. If you've been putting yourself down, stop. Because doubt is the enemy of progress.
You can get to a place in your life where you are so tired that you can hardly move. And they said if you look up, you can get up. And you can be so fragmented, so beat up, that you can't even open your eyes. And so every opportunity that comes, every person that comes, every wind of change that blows, your response is, I'll do it tomorrow. But I'll do it tomorrow. It can wait, it can wait. And that's because we've lost the urgency.
See, tomorrow is promised to no one. But you already knew that. This is your life. I need you to own it. It's gotta start right now, this very moment.
You gotta be willing to put in the work when you feel like it, and you've gotta be willing to put in the work when you don't feel like it. You've gotta be willing to show up when you feel confident, and you've gotta be willing to show up when you're feeling uncertain.
My future ain't at the game. My future ain't at the mall. My future is in me, giving every ounce of my soul, every ounce of my being, everything I got. No more tomorrows. Give everything you got today. There is absolutely no tomorrow. That needs to be your new mindset. That needs to be your new mantra. I need you to get it through your thick skull. No one knows what will happen tomorrow, but today you have to achieve more than you did yesterday.
So take action today. Go after your dreams today. Get out of your comfort zone today.
Come on, you gotta stop overthinking. Like you're thinking this thing, you're thinking yourself out of it. And you're negotiating your path out of this obligation, this opportunity, this moment in time where you could really become something, really accomplish something. We've got to get to the place where we have non-negotiables. Like, yo, I'm not negotiating myself out of this. This is not a conversation I'm available for. I'm not gonna keep thinking myself out of destiny, out of purpose, out of connection. I don't have time. I'm completely unavailable. And every single day, I'm living like it's my last. I'm putting it all on the table. The future is very expensive. I don't know what it is that you want to do, but everybody's got something they want to do. Everybody's got something they want to become. Everybody's got somewhere they believe they've been destined to go. And oftentimes we don't hit these targets because we're not considering the cost. Then I just want to share with you things that you need to start sacrificing right now. Number one, your time. You got to get used to sacrificing your time. If you're going to achieve it, if you're going to become it, if you're going to go somewhere, then you're going to learn how to have to sacrifice your time. You can't have the future and you don't know how to wake up at 3 o'clock in the morning, 4 o'clock in the morning, 5 o'clock in the morning. You can't have the future. You will not be able to manifest if you're sleeping when the world sleeps. So you got to learn how to get up when everybody's sleeping. You only have 24 hours in a day. You got to learn to manage the time that is given to you. This means that you can't binge watch your favorite television show every day. This means that you can't be on social media every day. This means that you can't do whatever you want all day and think you're going to manifest and become this person and achieve this feat. It's not going to happen. Number two, you got to surrender comfort. I need you to get out of your comfort zone. If you're going to be successful, if you're going to achieve it, if you're going to become it, you've got to break out of your comfort zone. Some of you, you have financial goals, you have relational goals, you have health goals, but you're comfortable. You're comfortable in the current toxic relationship you're in. You're comfortable being overweight. But I'm just wondering if there's anybody that's listening to me that's just flat out tired of being comfortable. Number three, past versions of yourself. There is an irritation, there is an anguish and a pain that we all carry when we show up in a new season, the old version of ourselves. Every season requires a new version of yourself. Another version of discipline and focus and intentionality. So you got to sacrifice the old you. I know you keep celebrating small wins and what you accomplished 5 years ago, 2 years ago, what you did in high school. I need you to find a mirror and I need you to say goodbye to the old version of yourself. In the next 3 to 6 months, you're going to make you proud. The next thing that's got to go is fear, pride, and ego. For many of us, fear is disguised as rational and practical. And fear is disguised as a planning agent. I'm just planning out the process, and I'm just gonna wait. I'm just kind of walking myself through everything and processing everything. And so fear disguises itself as process. And I'm talking to you. I need you to find a mirror, and I need you to bind up the spirit of fear. And I need you to tell yourself, I am not afraid. I am not afraid. If you were to ask me, what do I fear? I don't fear starting. I fear never starting and sleeping on my potential. I'm terrified of not manifesting and becoming the version of myself I was destined to be. So the next thing you're gonna have to sacrifice is that vice. Now listen, I don't know what your vice is. If you're trying to lose weight, your vice could be ice cream, chips, cupcakes, cookies. If you're trying to be financially fit, your vice could be splurging on clothes and entertainment and food and recreation. Sometimes you're gonna have to surrender that month, that quarter, that year. It takes a lifetime of discipline. Can you surrender what you have possessed? Can you surrender what is possessing you? Some of you are possessed by social media. It's no longer a servant, it is a master. Social media is a beautiful servant, but it is a terrible master. Can you surrender social media? Can you surrender your time? Can you surrender yourself? Can you surrender your mind? Can you surrender your will? Can you stop choosing what's killing you? If you're going to achieve it, if you're going to manifest, if you're going to do this thing, then you're going to need some stamina. Come on, believe it. Come on, you got to start speaking that stamina over your life, speaking that endurance over your life. Believe it, believe it. If you're going to be extraordinary, and you can't make ordinary sacrifices. There are levels to sacrifice. There's sacrifices that everybody makes, sacrifices in every scene of our lives. And then there are some extraordinary sacrifices.
You can't have the future if you can't surrender something that's no longer serving you. You cannot manifest. You cannot become the next version of yourself. You cannot experience a higher quality of life unless you sacrifice. There are some things that you love too much. There's some people that you've kept in your life. They are toxic. They add no value. They are no longer serving your vision. It's time for the next version of yourself. Snap out of it. This version of you is not going to carry you in this next season. You're going to have to sacrifice who you used to be.